Howdy everyone, this is LockNutz, and you're watching a map tour of Calmsden Farm by OxygenDavid. Hopefully you'll stick around to see what happens. Howdy, how are you guys doing today? Oh my goodness, I tell you what, today we are going to be looking at a map tour of Calmsden Farm by OxygenDavid. This map is 560.84 megabytes to download, and it is for all systems. This is a very cross-platform friendly map, so you have that to look forward to. Now, before we get any farther, cover a couple little of the normals. We are starting this gameplay off in New Farmers Mode. That way you know exactly what you would get if you were to start off in New Farmers Mode. I will be discussing the differences between the couple modes. And with that being said, let's go to see what the description of this map is. Welcome to Calmsden Farm. This map is based in Gloucestershire, UK. This is a replica of a real-life farm and the surrounding areas. It has a real-life PDA map. It has custom lighting XML with the deeper blue skies and darker nights. And with that being said, guys, that is just a beautiful sky. I have sped time up, and the night times really are pretty spectacular, along with the sunsets and sunrises. There are new animations, flying birds across the map, pedestrians, and etc. So you got to keep your eyes open for different bits and bobs moving around on the maps. There are over 50 HD models made by Oxygen himself, 36 fields with missions. The fields range from various sizes, 2 placeable areas where you can build your own production or farm setup, 5 sell points, and a BGA and sawmill, etc. Seasonal visuals. Now that means in summertime, you're going to see the things you're supposed to see in summertime. You're going to see clothes on the clothesline. You're going to see barbecues out ready to cook and all sorts of other different things. In the fall, you're going to see falling leaves coming from the trees. And in wintertime, you're going to see snowmen, icicles, and much more. Now, the collectibles. There are collectibles on this map. There are 100 of them, and they are wooden toys. There was a little wooden toy here, but I accidentally clicked on it, and it's not here anymore. So, don't get confused when you go ahead and click on those toys. There are 10 different types of toys, and each type of toy has different colors. I found some sheep on here before, and the sheep range across the colors, and there are only 10 of them. Same thing with pigs. I think cows, horses, I see in a trailer. I'm sure there's tractors, so keep your eyes open for those guys, and they are $1,000 a piece. You also have custom UK license plates built directly into the map, custom grass textures, and loads of custom sounds from OxygenDavid to everyone. I hope you all like this map. And I have a strange feeling that I will like this map personally. Don't take my word for it, though. Don't ever take my word for it. Oh, man. So this here is the starting farm, or not the starting farm, but your starting house. The farm is actually up the road a little bit, but I just wanted to take a peek at this here really quick. You do start off with a dog, and no matter what starting or how you want to start the game, whether it's New Farmer Mode, Farm Manager, or start from scratch, the dog is always here, so that is good to know. And you will always be able to interact with it. Let's feed that up a little bit there. I'm not sure where he went, but I'm sure he'll pop up eventually. Alright, so with that being said, guys, in New Farmer Mode, you start off with $100,000. In farm manager mode, you start off with $1.5 million. Oh, there's one of the sheep right there, see? And you'll find him in all sorts of different colors. So let's just get that guy. Why not? Alright. Start from scratch mode, you start off with $500,000, but you do start off with $200,000 as a loan, which roughly gives you a net value of $300,000 to go ahead and play with. So depending on how you want to look at it, that's what you end up starting off with. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what would happen if you were to start off in new farmer mode. Let's take a look at your implements and tractors. So coming on in here, you start off with 3 medium tractors, 2 John Deeres, and a Fendt. You come over to harvesters, you start off with a Claas Triton 720 harvester. And it also comes with 1 grain header. Now, it does not have a corn header, so you would end up having to buy that if you want to do any corn or sunflower seeds. So keep that in mind. If that's the route if you want to take, you have to go ahead and grab that. It also does come with a header trailer that does fit on there, so that is pretty slick. And guys, when we take a drive around, you're going to see you need this. You're not going to be able to drive down the roads unless you end up getting rid of this, or if you start off in new farmer mode and you start off with a really small harvester, because the roads are very narrow. We'll take a look at that all a little later on. You do start off with a telehandler, a JCB telehandler, and you get 3 different implements that go with it: a universal bucket, pallet fork, and bale fork. Now this right here, guys, you do not start off with. I bought this on my own, which is why I don't have $100,000. I bought this so that we could travel around the map and take a look at stuff with ease. Now you do start off with a half pipe trailer for hauling, well, anything and everything that you want to haul. You get yourself an all-around flatline 600 harvester with a working width of 6 meters, and this is a shallow cultivator, so it's going to produce less rocks. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head when you're going ahead and doing things. You do start off with a Rapid A800S seeder. Pretty slick little bugger you got right there. Again, if you want to go ahead and do corn or sunflower seeds, you're going to have to get yourself a planter, but this is a nice little implement to start off with. You do end up with a Power Roll 1230 HD roller, pretty darn slick. You start off with a Vantage a Vantage sprayer. It does do both herbicide and fertilizer, so that is pretty slick. You start off with a Kuhn mower, a baler, a Kuhn baler, and it does not go ahead and wrap your bales as well. So if you want to make silage, you will have to do it yourself. Wrap the bales, that is. And you do start off with a weight. So that's what you start off with for bits and pieces. Now let's take a look at the land. That's not it. Take a look at the land that you start off with. Starting off with this map right here. Now this is a pretty darn slick map that you got going on here, and as you can kind of see, like a lot of OxygenDavid maps, he's taken a lot of time and, well, decorated the map. I love the eraser, the pencil, and the ruler, although I'm from America, so I don't understand this. Oh, man. So if you go ahead and take a look at this, what do you actually start off with on new farmer mode? You start off with actually quite a bit. You start off with fields 2, 3, 4, 6, 15, 31, and 35. Plus you also start off with a couple little bits and pieces that are not marked on here. But this is pretty much where your pastures are, which, speaking of which, you do start off with a pig pasture, chicken, sheep, cow barn, horse barn. You do start off with that, but no animals. And that stuff is located right over here in this area right here. So this field right here actually doubles as a pasture. We'll take a look at that a little later on. Now, what do we have for prices of fields? Because as you can see, we do have a handful of pretty small fields right here in the center, a couple medium-sized ones right here, and then a couple large ones along the outside. Well, the price of the largest field is field 13 right here, and that is $1.38 million. Kind of pricey. On the exact opposite side of that, you have field 27, which is just a hair under $37,000, or not 37, $30,000. So all of these fields kind of in here, they're all grass fields right up in here, and they are relatively inexpensive compared to a lot of the larger fields. Now you do have one forestry area right here that's kind of a forestry area. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. That is $234,000. Now, you do start off, or I should say, there are a couple things that you want to be aware of. The two placeable areas are this guy right here and this guy up here. Now, they are relatively expensive, but they're large placeable areas. This one up here is $648,000. Not terrible. And this one right here is $833,000. So if you're going to start off on farm manager mode and you want to start from scratch essentially, but have that cash, those are two very good locations. They're open fields with grass, which you'll be able to see after a little while. So if you want to, you can just mow it. It's entirely up to you. Now, if you go ahead and notice all the extra land you do own, that is not something that you are going to have in new farmer mode or start from scratch. And in those other two modes, you cannot purchase that land at all. It is non-purchasable. So keep that in mind if you want to be able to get onto some of these little bits and pieces, which we'll take a look at later on. You won't be able to do that, or I should say be able to purchase that land at a later date. Now this little area right here, I really want to point this area out because right down here is one of the two production areas that I was able to find on the map, and it is the BGA. The other one is up here, and it is the sawmill. So we'll take a look at that a little later on. But the BGA I really want to hit on because if you start this game off in new farmer mode, you start with access to this. If you start on the other modes, farm manager or start from scratch, you don't even have an opportunity as of this moment to be able to go ahead and purchase this. So if you want to start off with the BGA, you need to start off with new farmer mode. You could also go ahead and purchase this and put one up if you want, but there is one on the map, and like I said, the only way to access it is if you start on new farmer mode. So if you want to have that start from scratch feel, but you want to be able to at least have the BGA, you're going to have to start off a new farmer mode to begin with and maybe sell everything off and kind of play the game where you get rid of the money. And then you'll be able to go ahead and kind of start off in that particular scenario. Now, one thing I want to point out that on OxygenDavid's Facebook page, he has said that he will continue to update this game. Now, he didn't give an end date or anything like that, but I can almost assume that he's going to continually update this throughout the course of FS22 while it runs its course. So I'm going to assume that that will change as time moves on. Now, like I said, there are only these two production areas, and that is it. So if you want to go ahead and do anything else, a grain mill, anything like that, you're going to have to put the stuff down by itself. So with that being said, guys, we're going to start taking a little drive around, looking at the landscape, checking different bits and bobs out. Yeah, so let's start with that right there. Now that, like I said, that is the area where we did start. And let's go ahead and hop in the truck. Like I said, guys, I did just purchase this just so that we could go ahead and drive around and look at various things. So let's go ahead. I'm going to actually bring this map up here. I like to have the map up in the corner so that you guys can kind of follow along with where I'm at and what I'm doing. So let's head over this way first because this is that little area that I was telling you about where you do end up having, There we go. Where you do end up having the different little areas for animals. So if you come up in here, this actually is a pasture. You got your 2 triggers out there. This is labeled field 31, so you probably can cut the grass. I mean, it's a legit field, but it's also doubling as a pasture. Now, if you hop on over this way, you have your little chicken coop, which I think this little area right here is a purchasable area. And then you also have your horse pasture. I think up here this is probably... Okay, so if you want to do horse jumping? I'm sorry, guys. I can't... I'm trying to say it. The word's coming in my head, but I can't get it out of my mouth. I do apologize. Fancy horse jumping and riding. You have the opportunity to go out there. It is pretty nice if you go ahead and you do get your horses, and you do, guys... Some of us like to go ahead and just pay somebody to do it, and some of us like to ride it ourselves. If you like to ride it yourself, it's kind of nice to be able to go ahead and do it this way. It's a little bit more to do versus sitting around. And then you do have the pigsty up here, which it is the pasture, so you do have to bring water to all of these locations, just so that you guys are aware. Now, with that being said, let's head down over here, because there is a little interesting thing that I want to point out to you. This little area right here. Now, let's head up over here. This little area right here, this is a unique little area. I'm not sure exactly how this works. Maybe in a different version I might be able to figure this out, but as of right now, I've tried a bunch of things, and I can't figure this guy out to get it to work. Now, what am I talking about? What am I talking about here? This area right here is the remove junk in barns. I don't know what it does. Seriously, I have no idea what this does. I've tried, there's like a barrier right here. I've tried running in, looking at stuff. When I go ahead and tag the location, it says this is the location right here. I've tried getting in. I've tried running around and clicking on things. I've brought various bits of material and set them down over here, and I just can't figure it out. If somebody does know how to get this thing to work, or if there is a way to make this work right now, please comment down below and let me know. I would really like to know. I've tried. I've short of contacting OxygenDavid myself, I have not figured this guy out. But as you can see right here, we do have nice animations with the gates, and you'll find that is a continuous trend as we continue to move along down the road. Alrighty then, so let's actually, I think we'll go ahead and we'll back this guy up and get ourselves out and go look at the 2 main farm locations, which we'll go ahead and bring back up on the map in just a second, because you can purchase them separately, and it does seem to be like you don't have to have one. Both locations are set up where you'd probably be pretty fine if you just had one or the other. So I think I'm actually going to go to this northern location really quick. Watch out. Get out of the way, dear. Get out of the way. Okay, so one thing I do want to point out, guys, a lot of the roads that we're going to end up going through are very heavily covered. So if you don't like that, you can either drive like this or drive in cab. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. This map has several areas where you have to go ahead and go through heavily treed areas. So let's hop in here and go take a look at this first location right here. So you do have a liquid storage tank right here. I'm going to turn that off while we go ahead and look around. You do have a liquid storage tank, or liquid fertilizer tank, where you can actually go ahead and purchase it, and it will be delivered to site for you. Obviously, that price right there is a little bit more if you were to compare to bringing it up here yourself. Now, one of the really cool things about this farm area is that, let's see, what's this down here? Okay, that's not what I was thinking it is. Okay. This area right here has a ton of storage. You have this little area right around over there. You have a tremendous view, that's where I was watching the sunrise and sunset, and we're going to come check that out before the day is done, but I wanted to come in here and take a peek. Like I said, there is tons of storage in here. Lots and lots of room. Functioning lights, that's always pretty spectacular. I'm an electrician by trade, and I love to see it when the lights come on maps. It's just spectacular. And if you guys are just sitting here listening, if you can just hear all these little bits and noises, fans running, that's all part of what OxygenDavid was talking about when he has all these custom sounds. It's pretty cool. You open this guy up, and this actually is another way to get you access to the road, so you don't have to constantly go through that gate if you don't want to. You can kind of snake your way in through here, or if it's easier to get your implements out and about, this is a nice little way of going about doing it. Now, as you can see right over there, that is where you can load your trailers up with what you put in your grain silo. And right over here is where you go ahead and you dump your grain silo, and it also doubles as storage. Come on. There you go. It also doubles as more storage space, so you got tons and tons of room in here. Now, one thing I'm going to bring up that really quick. Okay, I didn't think so. I couldn't remember if this was a bunker silo in here or not, so I just wanted to check it out. But it'd be nice dry storage. If you have like a load of potatoes, you can drop them in there and they're not going to rot, so that's awesome. And the lights work, so that's always slick. Come on over here, and we have, yet again, more storage. It just doesn't stop. It just does not stop. And this area also doubles as your repair station, so if you got to bring something in here, it'll be pretty slick. The only thing that I would say is if you are looking at repairing your header or something like that, obviously it's going to be very hard to get in here. You may have to set something up outside or at a different location, because where myself personally, you see these repair stations inside buildings, super cool. Sometimes it's kind of a pain to get to, but it is really cool how it's all set up. And this right here is one of the farm locations. Now, this farm location and the other farm location that we're going to look at right here, you don't have a lot of room to go ahead and put other various bits and pieces. Now, what do I mean? I'm talking about production here, or maybe even let's look at some buildings. Let's look at a shed here. Well, obviously we don't have enough money. Let's get something we can actually put up. There we go. Okay, obviously you're not going to go ahead and put this little barn in here, but as you can see, there's just on this land here where you have free space, there's just not a lot of room to be able to do it. The good news is if you do start off in new farmer mode, this field is absolutely huge, so you could potentially chew into it a little bit, and as you can see, even where you think you'd have some space, there really is no space over here. So maybe taking over part of this land right here, it's not ideal because you're losing the potential to make money, if that makes sense to you guys, but it's at least an option to kind of get yourself through here. Now let's drive on down here and take a look at this other farm. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go in cab here real quick. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at this. Get out of the way, dear. I think I might have hit that one. I won't tell anybody if you won't. Alright, let's get ourselves on down here. Get out of that while we get through that area. And as you can see, a lot of work was put into these various houses and other little doodads that are all out and about around here. I mean, I'm a little far out, but you can even see the details pretty darn good from this far out. So let's go ahead and turn up through here, and these right here off to my right hand side, these are some of those small fields that I was telling you about that are pretty darn cheap. So that's kind of what they look like. They're not perfect, but they definitely will work for anything that you have to do. Now let's take and stop right here, pull off to the side of the road because here is the other farm location. As you can see, this farm here has its own silo as well. You open and close that to toss your grain in. It's not as fancy of a setup, but honestly, if you ask me, it's more of a user-friendly setup. So I think this might work out pretty slick for whoever's out there doing things. And again, like I said, guys, lots of space. No lights in there, but we'll deal with that one. We'll worry about that one later. And again here, lots of space. Got your implements for your telehandler. You have your actual telehandler over there and some forks out front. This was the room I was thinking about. Now you have a little place in here. Nice little additive that, you know, honestly, you don't need. Maybe clear these shelves off. You put your own stuff in there. You know, whatever it is that you want to do. It's entirely up to you. You can do what you want in here. My goodness, closing doors. There are a couple things here you can take and knock over if you really, well, I could knock those over before. I may have had super strength. Oh my gosh, super strength down when that was happening. But again, it's a nice little area. It doesn't have to be here, but it's a nice little detail for moving forward. Now here's a nice little storage area that we have right here for various different implements. And again, guys, the moral of the story is storage. This sucker is pretty long. You have your mowing unit back over there. Alright, let's keep on heading around this way. Hop over this. And over here it is a pasture as well. I don't remember what the heck this is. I think this is your cow. Yes, this is the cow barn right here, because you got your slurry tank right there. You have your cow access areas in here, whatever you want to call it. Ooh. We'll just open that thing up. And this is it. This is what I was thinking of. This is where the bunker silo is. So you do have a bunker silo. I'll bring that up so you can see chaff fill compacting. That's how you know it is a bunker silo. Pretty darn slick. Again, guys, lots of storage over here. Lots and lots of storage for moving forward on anything that you may or may want to do. So what I think I'm going to go ahead and do here, guys, we are going to the north section of the map. I think we'll probably head over to the shop first. Then we'll kind of go around the map in a counterclockwise fashion so we can kind of take a look at everything that's available to us. And as a mental note for everybody, oops, sorry about that. As a mental note for everybody, let's go ahead and reset this right now so you guys can see where this does end up resetting. If I can click on it. There we go. Reset vehicle, yes, reset vehicle. And it actually came up here to this farm. So this is the reset vehicle location for the map, so kind of keep your eyes peeled for that as we move forward. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I'm going ahead and doing map tours, guys, is I actually like to drive through the fields. That does bother the heck out of somebody. I know there's at least one person out there with their eye twitching right at this moment, but I like to go ahead and drive through the fields so you can kind of get a better understanding of what the fields look like. Now, doing a little driving around prior to any of this stuff happening, I did notice that the fields here are relatively flat. There's some slight elevation changes, so it doesn't really appear to me like you're gonna have to upsize any implements, anything like that. You pretty much are going to be able to get by with whatever horsepower requirements are required for whatever implement you got. I mean, it's one of the steeper drops in the game, or I should say in this map, and that still really isn't all that bad. Now, one thing that you guys need to keep yourselves aware of, there is no collision. There is no collision. One thing I have found out, though, is that there are a handful of areas that do have concrete barriers. Like this up here, and those guys you cannot get yourself through. So keep that in mind. I know some people like to go ahead and play as realistic as possible. Other people aren't necessarily game for that. So that's something that's entirely up to you. Now, this is one thing I want to point out to you really quick as we head over to the shop. There are a couple areas, this is one of them, that you do own on New Farmer mode, but you do not own it anytime else. Oh, okay, that's the edge of the map. I can't go any farther that way. But there are a couple areas like this where you can actually kind of drive back here, maybe get a little bit more grass, maybe do some mowing, or I should say tree harvesting. That's entirely up to you, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that that is a possibility for you. Alright, so let's come on up over here. Is a nice little building you really don't have any access to right there. Let's see if we can get back over there. Nope. So that is one thing. It does look like that's something over there, but you can't get to it. And that's one thing I think OxygenDavid does really, really well on all of his maps, is he makes you believe that the land or the map really extends much, much farther than it really does. And hats off. I absolutely love seeing that all the time. Now, oh, I keep forgetting. Let's turn that thing off. This is the shop right here. As you can see, you kind of have a little spot back on over here where you can get stuff. It's kind of not a typical shop. It's very customized. And one little neat thing about this is it does also have a sell point right over here, the farm store, so you can go ahead and sell different things. Now, if you guys do remember, most of OxygenDavid maps, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, do have lots and lots of different sell points and different sell locations. The options are actually pretty heavy. Just take a look at wheat right here. There's 5 different places to go ahead and sell wheat. Same thing with barley, canola, all that stuff is the same. No selling points available. That's odd. I'm assuming that that'll probably be something that gets changed at some point here, because that doesn't make any sense. Same thing with grapes, olives. Obviously, if you go ahead and put in like the general store or something like that, you'll be able to sell this stuff, but as of this point, there is no sell points that'll accept that. So keep that in mind. If you decide to go ahead and plant a load of sorghum, you can't do anything with it. Not at this moment. You can go ahead and manufacture it into something else, but as of right now, that's it. Same thing with grapes and olives. Sugar beets. One thing that I did want to point out is that the BGA does take the cut sugar beets, so that's something to keep your eyes peeled for. And we'll go ahead and take a look at some of that stuff a little later on. As soon as we get through this, I just kind of wanted to quickly go through this. There are no specialty crops, no specialty anything. It's all the standard in-game stuff as of this moment. So keep that in mind as you're going about doing things. Now let's come over here and take a look at this really, really quick. As you guys can see, the BGA does make different things for you, and the sugar beets, this is what you get as an output. It's not as I don't want to say high, but you definitely don't get as much out of it. But as we all know, sugar beets are notorious for being an incredibly high yielding crop, so it kind of makes sense that it's offset just a hair. And at this point, I think we're going to go ahead, hop back in. Oh, howdy, how you doing? We're going to hop back in the truck and continue on our tour. Now, don't think that I'm just going to keep driving on fields. I am going to drive on some of the roads. I just wanted to demonstrate, like I said, what everything looks like, what you're going to be doing. And as you can see right here, guys, this is a very, very narrow exit to get out of the shop. So, like I said, if you want to role play and have something delivered to your shop, you could always buy it and reset it if it's too big to fit through that area. So keep that in mind. You're very, very limited. And as we're going ahead and driving down the roads right here, again, you're not going to be able to see from up here. You're either going to have to drive from the side, which is going to be hard for seeing turns. You're going to have the sucker back like this, or you're going to have to be in cab. So keep that in mind when you're going about doing this. Now, I want to keep it out like this. I've watched a lot of movies. I like watching movies. And why am I bringing up movies? I've never been to England. I've never been to the UK, Great Britain, whatever terminology is correct. I've never been there. But in all the movies I've seen in Great Britain countrysides, this is a kind of what it looks like, just from everything that I've seen, and it's just really darn cool. It's just really darn cool to see. I definitely think it was worth the wait. I'm one of the people that are in the camp of I'm glad OxygenDavid waited until FS22 before he brought this out, and he did not rush it along and bring it for all of us to enjoy and witness in FS19. I would have loved playing it in FS19, but I really am glad to see that that did not end up happening. So, oh my goodness. Maybe we'll just edit that part out. I don't know. We'll see. Only time can tell. Oh, man. So up here we do have a sell point that is up over here. Again, multiple sell points within one particular location. So you do have several different things you can go ahead and look at. Now, why are we over here? Well, this right here. Oh, cool little purple tractor. Come on. That one's mine now. This is one of those areas that is for sale. This is one of those placeable areas that you can go ahead and buy. And like OxygenDavid said, it does have the custom grass textures, and it is pretty neat looking, where you have the couple really longer ones, the thicker grass, some is seeding out. Done very well. Now, like I said before, if you want, you can go ahead and make this your own paradise. Or you can just go ahead and buy this land and cut grass, make bales, make silage, and just enjoy the baling life. But this is one of the two placeable areas, and like I said before, it is very big, and you have a great opportunity to get out here and do whatever the heck it is that you want. Definitely in those areas, the possibilities are endless. I need to take a peek at the map here really quick. Alright. I actually want to head back around the other way, because there is one lime fill point on this map. I'm going to just back out here for a second so we can see. There is one lime fill point on this map, and it is over here, and we're going to work our way over that way. So now we are on the northern half of the map, and again, fields are still pretty darn flat. I mean, as far as I know, all the pictures and everything I've seen... Ooh, I don't want to smash into that. All the pictures and everything that I've seen, this is typical or stereotypical countryside in Great Britain. I mean, it looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think I'm going to cut across this and stay the heck with the road for a little bit. And like I said, guys, it is very flat. It's not so flat that it's a flat map or anything like that, but it is very flat, and it definitely gives you the impression of very gently rolling hills. It's actually very beautiful. Now, this is two of the areas we're just going to quick take a little peek at. You cannot purchase either of these areas right here, but they do look very wooded, okay? Now, I want you to remember that. Because you drive into a tree. That doesn't work. You drive into a tree in there, and that part right there is not wooded in the center at all. And this one right here, I think I screwed this up. This one's wide open. So this is a nice little nugget for you if you do have access to this land. Starting a new farmer mode, you could do a ton of stuff in here. You may have to get a little creative every once in a while, but you can get in here. Now, I want to get out of this really quick and turn around this way. Now, I'm going to come into this field here for just one... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I screwed that up. Well, we scratched the paints. We'll just have to deal with that. I want to bring you guys out into here because I completely forgot about this, and it's just something you guys definitely need to know. This field is beat up. It needs lime. It's heavily weeded. Sugar beets are growing. It's been 50% fertilized. I don't know if that's standard starting, but if you guys want to, if you really, really want to, I want to point this out because I forgot to do this earlier. It costs nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't know if that's by design or what, but this field costs nothing. So if you even start the game with nothing, you can still buy this map. So field 23, $0. Pretty slick. Pretty slick. Now, I don't know if that's going to change with any updates. It might, but if it does, it was $0 at one point. I just want to make you guys aware of that. And it is kind of a beat-up field, I will say that. It's a little bit more of a harsher horizon for you. So, I mean, it's part of that game. What do you want to do? You want to spend $0 on a field, or do you want to struggle? Or do both? It's completely up to you. The choice is yours. Oh, man. All right, so let's continue on this little map tour. We'll stay on the road here for a little bit. Now, up here we do have one sell point, and we also have the lime station. Up here, oh my gosh, that deer. What is going on? And this is the garden center. We're not going to go in there right now. It is the garden center, so something you want to keep your eyes open for. And it looks like there might be something purple up over there by that electrical system. So, if you're looking for toys, there you go. And this right here, yep, this is the only place that you can go ahead and buy lime on the map. Or not on the map, but the only lime filling station that is available to you. So that is an option for you. Alright, so let's head on down this way a little bit. I tell you what, I'm really digging these little ditches here. These little runoff ditches. Oh man, that's super cool as you continue on down the road. What the heck is that? Just a log, I guess. Alright, check that out later on. We'll go down this way just a little bit farther. Now, as you can see off to the right-hand side here, this also is area that is only ownable as of this moment by starting a new farmer mode. So you could go ahead and there definitely are benefits to starting a new farmer mode. You get access to a ton more land, and depending on what picture you're trying to paint, what story you're trying to tell, it might make a ton of sense to go about doing that. Now, I'm going to kind of cut across these fields right here, because these ones over here are some of the bigger, longer fields that you have, and like we said before, there's no collision, so that really does help out a ton. Now, there is one particular area here. There is only one wooded area on this map that is actually purchasable, and you actually do not start off with it. Nope, there it is. I missed the road. There's only one purchasable chunk of land that is set up for forestry, and I am struggling really bad right at this moment. But it is right up over here, and we'll check out the price of this thing in just 1 second. There is access to it right here. Right there. It's kind of hard to see, but you do have access to it. Now, it does have this little windy path that does come along here. And as you can see, it's just kicking this thing around. But one thing that you probably are noticing is that it's not very thick. There's not a lot of trees on this chunk of land. I mean, there's a handful of them, but there's not a lot of trees. So if forestry is something that you're really into and you really want to do, this map really isn't a forestry map. It's not set up where there's even a real good forestry location. To be honest with you, this is kind of like a tip of the hat to forestry, and that's about it. If you really want to hit it hard, though, you could go ahead, cut trees down, plant on this land, and it still is a nice little chunk of land to build various production sort of things. Anything that you want to do. You can cut down the trees, do what you want, but I just wanted to make you guys aware of it. It is here, and it is only, I think it's 234,000, so it's really not that expensive. It's actually pretty good. But I wanted to show you that and just make you aware that it's not a very large area for you to do anything. Now, this little area right here, as we're driving through here to cut across so we can go to the southern portion of the map, this little area right here, this is one of the fields that you can buy. It's not very big, but I tell you what, if you're looking at starting like your own farm, obviously this is steep, but if you're looking at starting your own farm and having it be on just a small little chunk of land, this isn't that bad of a spot. Obviously, like I said, that landscaping would be a huge issue. Maybe if you figure on having like a terraced level, like here's a level, there's a level, there's a level down there, with a road driving down the center or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you can paint whatever picture you want, but that's definitely a possibility for starting off a new farm, and it's not on your standard pre-designed locations that are available to you. I always like to look for those little bits and pieces on maps, just so if you kind of want to do something your own way and not necessarily do everything the way the game is set up for, it gives you that nice little option. Now here is that other chunk of land. Now as you can see here, this one is not as farmer friendly. You would have to go ahead and do everything yourself on here. You'd have to plow the ground. You'd have to go ahead and make do with whatever it is that you want to do out here. But again, it's a blank canvas. It's a lot of land. It's a lot of space. If you do start on new farmer mode, you could be right next to the BGA. So is it a plus? Is it a negative? I don't know. It's all up to you. It depends on how you want to go ahead and play your game. But I really do like this. Now, one thing I will say is that I did try buying this land, because I didn't know if I were to buy this land and the sign would go away. Well, it doesn't. It's Lizard's Estates. I've checked that website. It's a bit shady. I'd be scared. Watch out. Watch out. But the sign does not go away at all. So that's, I'm not going to lie, I was a little let down by that when I found that out, but ultimately it does not matter one bit at all. So we have finally made it to the BGA, and like I said, guys, if you want access to it, you have to go ahead and do it on new farmer mode. None of those icons are even here. That icon's not here, which is, this is where you'd go ahead and purchase it to access this menu. This is not even here. So if you want it, you gotta do it that way. You don't really have any other options. And we'll get ourselves turned around here. Now, one thing I did notice here is that there is no clamp or silage bunker here at the BGA. I know that's kind of a standard thing at a lot of different maps. Not on this one, though. It just is not on this map at all. So we're only going to take just a slight little swing around here to look at a couple of these fields before we turn ourselves into Mary Poppins and fly high above the skies. Now, one thing that's pretty cool here, the grain textures are actually pretty darn good. There has not been much lost on this at all. It was definitely worth the time that OxygenDavid took at all of this. I have been looking at contracts for you guys that are available. Contracts are available, but one thing I have not seen yet pop up on the contracts, even advancing some time, is I have not seen any baling contracts. So if that's something that you guys want to look into, that's just not an option as of this moment. From what I've seen, I could be missing it. I have not dabbled with this full on, so I don't know. And this is kind of interesting. You have a field divided by a road, which does happen a lot of times. On most maps, that would probably end up being 2 roads right there, but OxygenDavid made that into 1. So, as of this moment right here, guys, we are getting to that point where, we're about ready to go ahead and get right over by the shop again. So, let's go like this. Bear with me. And let's fly up into the sky. Oh my gosh, it looks even better from the sky. Well, not even better, but it looks great from the sky. And as you can see, oh man, we're creeping along here. You just take a look at all this stuff that's going on out here, guys, and it's actually really, really spectacular. The view is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, this map is a slight, very, very slight valley, almost like where you have the low point in the center, and it slowly, gradually raises up towards the edges of the map. For the most part, the roads are pretty darn good. They're narrow, so keep that in mind. And if you get lost, the map is almost set up with the town sort of semi in the center. Your farm is sort of semi in the center, with roads in a circular fashion. It's pretty easy to get through here. As you can see right in front of us is that forestry area. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, guys, this has been a long time coming, like I said before, but it was definitely worth the wait. Definitely worth the wait. I would highly recommend getting this map, giving it a good shot, giving it the old try. And I tell you what, if you don't believe me, go ahead and download this for yourselves. I dare ya. I absolutely dare ya. And at this point, I'd like to say, if you guys are liking what you're hearing, liking what you're seeing, go ahead and just smash that like button. Help the channel out by going ahead and hitting that subscription. Turn the notification bell to on or all, whichever it is that you feel like doing, and go ahead. Go ahead and share this. I dare you. I dare you to share this with somebody who likes farms. UK farms. UK farms. I know somebody knows somebody that likes UK farms. Oh my gosh, I tell you what, guys, it's been fun. It's been great. This is a beautiful map. OxygenDavid, hats off to you. It's definitely been worth the wait. I can't wait to sink my teeth into this one and lose myself for hours. Guys, thanks for stopping by.